Hello and welcome back to Company of Gamers League of Legends Esports. We're going on to points, online points rounds number 3. I'm here with Rockmar. How you doing, buddy? Is his mic even plugged in? I have no idea. Maybe I've turned his sound off. Was I that mean? Can he hear me? No, he's full sound. He's full sound. Where are you, Rockmar? I'm in call with him. This is really awkward. Maybe he's gone for a tinkle. Anyway, we're going to go on to the first game. It's going to be LoL versus Team FH. This week we are going to do the Masters Division, so we're getting back up into this. And yeah, it is Jackie, but your name is Keep It a Chaos. So have a nice day. Have super nice day. Yeah, I think he's got his sound off. I think he has no idea what's going on, Rockmar. Rockmar, where are you? Come on! But yeah, LoL versus FH. Game number 2, we're going to go on to FH versus Zero Elo, and 3 is going to be Oceanic Prime versus FH. So it's full FH games the entire day, but we do get 3 varied teams that they verse, so it's going to be fun to see exactly what they're up to. Yeah, Rockmar is just plugging himself in. Oh, Rockmar! What is the Rock doing? The Snowy Rock show is getting slightly delayed. Oh, hello? Rockmar, you there? Buddy? Hold up. Maybe I can try this. Audio settings. Is it my fault? No. Microphone USB. Yeah.
Hello, how are we?
Hey, we got him back. We got him.
My apologies. Astro A50 can be fantastic.
That was really awkward because I actually changed my settings as soon as you started talking, so I thought it was my fault. But it's all you.
It's all me.
Yeah,
it's all good. It's all good. Very much looking forward to another day of CoG LoL Esports.
Awesome. Again, this is Company of Gamers. This is League of Legends, the true esports of New Zealand coming in here. We also do StarCraft 2 and Dota 2 as well. And we're trying to dabble in a little bit of CSGO, but the community isn't quite there yet. We're trying to get there. It's going to be some awesome stuff going on. But yeah, we will head into the game right away, and won't keep you guys waiting for anything. Let me just give these guys the ready signal. Ready, let go! Over on the blue team, going to be Nala Secundus. On the red team, Team FH. Go and plug the stream like crazy. The scream. Oh, I keep doing that. The stream. Go plug the stream like crazy everywhere. And, oh, it's Jackie Snowy. Changed the name. Oh, now it is Jackie. I'm loving that. Okay. Champ Select, here we come. NS versus FH. What do you think coming out from this game? Because I have no idea. Whoa, that random Skype thing just appeared out of nowhere. Janna actually getting banned out against NS. They have been quite successful with Janna in the past, but I still think the ultimate does let them down.
Yeah, and Jarvan, being that he's been picked in, I think, 70% picked or banned in LCS and the OGN over the last couple of weeks. Not a surprising ban there. Hecarim, though, definitely not as popular a ban, but obviously a bit of targeting of the jungler here by NS.
Just a little bit. They want that. They don't want that speed control coming in. But we did last week see a very successful Rammus jungle activating his Q before he got into lane, and that was really effective for an initiate. Even wards didn't do much to counter that. As soon as he ran into you, he's got that turn off. It was really successful. Hello, Chris. Janna has crazy AB scaling. She certainly does. And as a support, you'd expect someone like a Janna to go for that Cage's pick. Very effective. There's the Blitz ban, something again that we haven't been seeing in quite a long time. Of course, we haven't been seeing the picks go out, and that's probably why. A lot of teams are learning a little bit more about how to get together as a team rather than focus on those OP champs, the ones that people just don't know how to deal with. I had so many successful games with Blitz recently, though. He's still very strong.
He's still very strong, but very like here, Snowy, they're wanting to very much on the side of NS, wanting to ban out that jungler. Very targeted bans there, and on the side of FH. Obviously, Shen is a very common ban, but the Janna Blitzcrank targeted bans, I would say, towards the support of NS as well.
A little bit. Shen, Amumu, Blitz, pretty standard. Coming up with the Jarvan, as you said before, picked a lot. He's very useful. He's very tanky. He can lock down individual targets. And we're not going to see any of those cataclysm into a shockwave. That was always nuts. But as you pointed out last time, I think it was he often jumps out of the range of the defensive. I was going to say defensive ball kill. Why my life? Command defense.
Yeah, it's Jarvan is a great hero to have that command shockwave on, but something we're not going to see this game, but something which I have been seeing a little bit, and we talked about it last week, is the command shockwave on an Elise coming out of the spider form, hanging up high, dropping into a team fight. Command shockwave, very, very strong. She gets the positioning she needs and makes that ultimate so strong. We're seeing FH pick up here Nasus Zyra by the looks of it. Nasus, a very, very popular pick. Again, actually more picked in the recent weeks than Jarvan, up around the almost 90% mark. So very, very popular, either picked or banned, just purely for that control, dragon control at level 6, and the fact that when he hits about level 15, you can't bully him out, no matter who you are, no matter how well you've built. He really doesn't care too much, and he's happy to tank whatever you can throw at him.
It is crazy. As soon as he hits that level 6 mark, just ult straight into the dragon. Doesn't even matter if bot's getting harassed. Come and help me. We got this. Anyway,
pretty much
CoG picking out that Sona, so they're going straight for that team-oriented comp, and you do see DJ Juicing going for his standard Varus. I'm surprised nobody's banned him out. Come to think of it, he always goes for that Varus pick, and he is decently enough consistent with it. It is very difficult to play Varus, trying to detonate those stacks. It's focused on doing so, but with a Sona, it is very effective. Crescendo coming into a couple of auto attacks with the Hurricane, getting it on all of the enemy team, going into a hail of arrows. That is dangerous, really, really dangerous. The next minute going in with the Rupture potentially as Cho'Gath could see a very effective hail of arrows going down no matter what happens. It looks like they're all going on that ADC damage.
Yeah, and a fairly standard comp coming out here so far from NS. FH probably doing a little bit of trolling here with the Heimerdinger.
Yeah, to quote Pastry Time and Papa Smithy, the dinger is in. The dinger is in. We got that on the red team.
It probably isn't going to get picked, but, looking at the Heimerdinger rework, not too far away now. So, very, very exciting for those Heimerdinger fans. But looking like it's going to be most likely a TF, and we've seen TF used to great effect over the last couple of weeks in the LCS, both in NA and EU. Such a strong mid lane champion, and even a top lane champion as well, but instead they go for the Ryze and the MF. Ryze is such a strong mid laner. He's able to just stand there and turret. He gets so tanky, and that's going to be another front line for MF, and going to be able to, with the Nasus Wither, the Zyra knockup, and the Rune Prism coming out of Ryze, give MF a really nice platform to send that bullet time over the entire enemy team.
So they're looking for a very in-your-face sort of controller team fight combo. And they're doing decent with damage as well. They're looking for a lot of map control, and I wouldn't be surprised if that Ryze actually picks up a... this is my mistake, I did not put on the summoner spell covers, so that was my bad. They are now active. And I wouldn't be surprised if that Ryze does pick up a teleport, like we have seen recently. Very, very strong. Get some around in those lanes quickly. He is quite a slow champion. But as you saw with the summoner spells off, he didn't have that quite just now. The game volume has been turned down a little bit. I did just get a message that it was quite high, so hopefully that's okay. And let's hope that in-game is alright as well. Do let me know if there's anything up with the stream.
Really interesting thing to note, though, Snowy, is for NS, the first 3 picks fairly standard, and as soon as the first 4 picks have gone out for FH, they've gone into the Jace and into the Nidalee pick. Now that's going to give them so much poke. Now if they're actually able to stay out of the fights and just poke, continue to poke, there's very little that FH is going to be able to do. They're going to be relying on, with that Ryze, with that Zyra, with that Nasus Renekton combo, they're going to be basically relying on being able to engage on that enemy team, pop both the Nasus and the Renekton ulti, the Zyra knock up, and get that bullet time across the entire team. If they're not able to get those picks and actually engage on the enemy team, it's going to be a very, very hard game for them, because they're going to have a whole lot of poke. Even the Varus arrow, there's a huge amount of range on that. The Jace shockwave and the Nidalee spears, and with that combined with the sustain out of Sona, it's going to be a very, very hard game for FH if they're not able to engage in those team fights.
Yeah, and if we are coming down to that 5 second countdown, as you can see on the stream, hopefully, is this the one to get rid of summoner spells? Is this it? Is it going to be the 62? Yeah, it is. Okay, we can release summoner spells now. And yes, would you look at that, it is going to be Rise with the teleport. Thank God he was sitting there with the Ignite for a while. I was like, what is he doing? Come on, let's get some control going. But with that Nasus and the Wither, and then coming in with the teleport from Rise onto his Bind, it's just nuts for lane control, and it can be used to really shut down any lane they choose, even under the turret, especially because of Nasus's level 6. You really don't want that to happen to you. So it's going to be difficult for NS to control this because they are quite a squishy team comp. They're relying on that distance, on that range, on that poke, as you said before. And they're not all that tanky. They're relying on Cho'Gath to pick up the team tankiness, and maybe a little bit of Jace. To be honest, he can get quite tanky in that top lane. I would expect him to be getting a Sunfire. You know, and probably at the beginning of the game, not focusing straight out for the damage. He is up against a Renekton, and Renekton high burst in that early game. So yeah, I would not expect him to be going full damage, but he is going to be pokey.
I'm going to expect, coming out of Mad Max on that Jace, it's going to be very hard for him in the early game. He needs to pick up a tier early if they want to play the poke game. Being that he's up against a Renekton, it makes it a whole lot harder because he's going to need that early game armor as well, and the longer he has to delay that tier, the harder it's going to be for him to get it stacked. At the same time, if he picks up the tier early, he will pay for it in lane. With that Ghost on the Renekton, he's already got a huge gap closer with that Slice and Dice, and it's going to be really hard for Mad Max to make that call unless he can get ahead early in lane.
Yep. Just a note out there, your sound is sort of going in and out very dramatically. Rockmars.
Okay.
Do you have a low threshold on your mic detection?
I will change my microphone.
Woohoo!
To...
He's going to come out here. This is going to be magic.
Is that any better?
Whoa! That really was magic. How the hell did you do that?
That's a change of microphone, my friend. Blue Snowball, thank you.
Oh, Blue Snowball. All the snowy products.
I know, right? It's the Snowy Rock Show. Thank you for tuning in. And yeah, I'm actually really excited about this matchup. I'm really excited to see the Nidalee Rise because I think that's going to be a very interesting combo. Rise is very strong if he's able to pick up that early game Rod of Ages and that early game tier. If he can't get that, it's going to be all. It's pretty much going to be all Nidalee. She's going to be able to pick up kills on Zyra. Zyra goes down with maybe two spears in team fights. If Zyra ends up catching any of those, it's going to be all bad for her. And MF, I'll be interested to see. Been watching a little bit, not really seeing the caster AD sort of build that we are used to out of the MF. In the last couple of months, it's sort of shifted away from that Black Cleaver build that she was really known for in early Season 3, and really has shifted more towards the Bloodthirster into the Static Shiv sort of build. So it'd be very interesting to see what is built on the side of FH.
Most definitely. I'm thinking quite a lot of tankiness there, but they should be able to get a decent amount of Initiate with the Zyra, especially if she can catch someone out off guard. And Renekton, we've seen him very effective going in with with the Slice and Dice and Color Meek. So I think they do have the Initiate potential, but they want Nasus in the middle. I have seen this combination before with the Nasus and the Renekton, and of course Renekton always made the Initiates, but it was difficult for Nasus to follow up on that because Renekton had already taken so much of the aggression, and you want Nasus to be the focus of attention. But then Renekton, he sort of could dance around the team fight and do whatever he wanted. So we'll see if that's going to be the exact same case. It is a Diamond Renekton. Just giving you guys a hint. I haven't got the. I sort of do have the loading up. Bloop. There's the loading. It's all sexy. But usually I don't show it because we do get into the in-game screen and it gets all crazy. It gets all nuts. But I'll show it.
It's it's interesting to see. But one of the really big things I think on the side of FH is that Cure on Nasus has picked up a Flash instead of Ghost. Now, watching junglers like Nintendo X, play, Nasus always goes for that flash, gets the really good early game engage, but more towards the late game, the flash falls off a whole lot because Nasus needs that gap close. Like you were saying, Renekton's able to slice and dice and get in there around the team. So it looks like they're really aiming to make Renekton that threat. With that gap closer in the Ghost, they're really looking for the AOE damage out of the Renekton, and are really looking to make the difference with him, and probably go more of a threat with Nasus going for the early Sheen build into the early Triforce, and possibly a little bit more damage than you would usually see out of the Nasus in the jungle.
League of Pauses has begun. Oh, we had a disconnect just before. I thought they were going to go for all of those crazy macro changes, but they're not actually doing that. There's someone DC'd. Let me see who I can blame.
Elite member.
Oh.
Elite member has DC'd. He came in on about 250 ping, so probably just hoping to see if he can bring that down a little bit and get himself a bit more in line with the team of NS.
It really does make all the difference. Come on, where are the Oceanic servers?
Well, it's more down to what you're used to playing with. Nasus there disconnecting for FH as well, but it's down to what you're used to playing with. Having played on servers where you're getting 10 and 15 MS, whereas I'm used to about 200, 210. It's actually very, very hard to play, very hard to get used to. So, Elite member and Cool probably just looking for that MS that they're a bit more used to.
I'm gonna go with Quill on that one. See for pronunciation.
Quill.
I think he's going for Quill. Because Quill is just a bit not rolling off the tonguey.
I think he wants to be cool, but he hasn't quite got that, and he's gone, what's the most phonetic pronunciation of the word that I can come up with? But you're probably most likely right there, Snowy.
Slightly less than cool.
I'm just going to call him Nasus, to be honest. I'm probably just going to go with Nasus. I think that's going to be
fallbacks. They work.
Yeah.
Pretty unexpected to see a hunter's machete on that jungler.
Look out. Well, that's actually a bit of bone of contention with a few junglers, especially with junglers that like Udi, and other junglers that like really early game pressure. If you pick up that machete, you have no pressure in lane apart from your kit. So because that machete is 300 gold and gives you no damage for champions. It's all based on those jungle mobs. So it doesn't give you very much pressure at all in the early game. And generally you'll see people with high damage like the Udi or like the Evelyn, you'll actually see them pick up something, or even a Twitch jungle. It's not very common, but pick up something like a longsword and pots, because that actually gives them a whole lot faster jungle clear and more pressure early in lane. So it'd be interesting to see how we go here, and what sort of pressure can come out from these junglers, because they do have a lot more CC in their kits than would normally be available.
Yeah, you do see a lot of burst junglers coming out these days trying to get those ganks off in the lane. I even consider Zac to do that, because he locks down champions. He doesn't have any direct CC apart from his ultimate. And he's there to dish out just a little bit of damage, sustain that damage, and lock down individual targets. But it does look like FH are trying to go for that little invade. I'm pretty sure, yep, Jay spotted it very easily. Gonna throw out that charge of very tasty energy and just completely scare Nasus, that's the one, Nasus, out of it. I just forgot exactly what it was. Oh, that's right, we do see the new meta coming in for the top lanes, coming in with those elixirs of fortitude, and we've seen some very interesting elixir plays when they want to activate it, when they don't want to activate it. I am very, very quick to activate my Elixir of Fortitude, because it gives you so much pushing power in lane. But it does make the difference in those 1v1s at the very end, and it is going to be Nasus just starting off in his own jungle. They're not going to go for any of those invades or anything like that. Good sighting actually going out from NS as well to keep an eye on their jungle.
Absolutely, and something to note with that red pot, it's going to be really in the advantage of Aerial on Renekton with that red pot, being that Jace isn't able to quickly exit a fight. Whereas, so basically, once he commits, Ariel's going to be able to pop that red pot, and he knows that he has that slice and dice and that ghost to follow up on the Jace. Even with that flash, Ghost lets you cover so much more distance over the period of the duration. So it'll be very interesting to see how that red pot fight goes in the top lane.
Yeah, and it gives them a lot of options because they get a ward with it as well as a couple of pots, and actually blue pots coming out from Mad Max as well. So he's looking to poke. Put a lot of range on that Renekton, which does help him a lot in lane. That's how he's going to win lanes. And a lot of people do say Jace's win lanes purely because of their range. Nick, minute, you've got no health. What are you doing sitting in the bushes? He DC'd. He just might have, because he was sitting there not moving. I have a feeling he was just not there.
Yeah, Wongs are throwing those grasping roots out there.
Yeah,
actually. Yeah, Wong's actually threw those grasping roots out there, sort of in anticipation of Neck Minutes trying to get away, and actually juked it by not moving, to be honest. But wasn't able to get the pause out fast enough from his team there. So a bit unfortunate there on the side of NH to give up that first blood, especially to a target that is as strong as the MF, because she is going to be able to bully so hard in this lane. MF and Draven especially are known as being those lane bullies that are really able to make the difference early.
Yeah, that was just sad from FH. They took that kill, I saw that. But I don't know, I guess they had no idea. After that juke, they thought he was just smart. So smart.
But it was not a bad juke. They are both very aggressive lanes, and come ultimate time, it's going to be in the favour of FH as we see a gank going up on the top. The slice and dice is in the flash there, and that's all that she wrote. They're just trying to look for that flash early. The Nasus and Renekton getting in there, not blowing any summoners, and managing to bait that one out from Jace. So it's going to make that next gank a whole lot easier, and we will probably see Nasus look in that top lane a whole lot sooner than before that flash comes up. It is a 5-minute cooldown, so a little while there before Jace is actually able to get that back up.
Yeah, so it is that first blood going to FH. Let's see how much it actually means for that bot lane. There is quite a lot more poke coming out from FH from the bot lane and a little bit more range. With that grasping roots from Zyra, it's just very, very strong because it's so quick. I had somebody talking about that recently with me while casting. It is a very, very fast snare. It's difficult to get away from when they're very close, but also difficult to aim at such a close range as well. As DJ Juicy does get a lot of poke on him, and there's that power coming out already from that lane. Having Sony get out for a while, DJ Juicy did level a little bit quicker. I think he's up in. Yeah, he's a little. Oh, he's actually not. Surprising, come to think of it.
Yeah, but basically, interesting pickup there from MF, going for the early Avarice Blade. So not something I would have expected, to be honest. With MF especially, you want that early power in lane. Avarice Blade doesn't really give you that. You don't. MF is not really a critical strike champion. She's not one that you want to straight away build that IE on, and it's something that a lot of champions, a lot of players don't even bother building the IE on because the criticals on her aren't that important. She's all about the raw AD damage. So very interesting there. Dango Teddy's obviously really very, very confident in his CSing ability.
Even more surprising considering that they've got that early lead.
Yeah, honestly, I would have expected a Boots and Doran's coming out of MF there, because Boots Doran's is going to give her so much more advantage in lane. She's already got that strut, she's got the extra movement speed, and the Doran's Blade, not only does it give you that extra 10 attack damage, it gives you 80 health, which means you are that extra 80 health doesn't sound like a lot, but it can be, just a little bit more than an auto attack, and that can be enough to keep you alive in those 1v1 trades.
Oh, we're just going to be seeing a plethora of tiers in this game. I'm sure as soon as Jace goes back, he's going to pick himself up one. And that's 3 already getting stacked up into the late game. And no singed. No singed.
No singed as yet, but interesting thing to note, Nasus hasn't yet revisited that top lane. I would expect him to do so very, very soon. Ariel's probably going to look to push this into the tower and deny some CS to Mad Max on that Jace, and let the lane sort of reset itself back to mid so that they can take advantage of Jace without that flash.
Well, there comes the aggression from the bot lane on NS, but still, Nick Minute, he's looking very, very low on health, and his sustain's not looking amazing either. I'm thinking if Wongza could flash and get a root off, they could grab a kill, but I don't think it's going to be that aggressive again because of that pickup from Dango Teddies. Maybe they're thinking they're a little bit smarter than that. There goes the root off, so a little bit of poke, but they're not going in for the initiate. Quite surprising, they're being very back and forth about this, very careful. They do know that getting very close is quite dangerous against the NS combo at bot lane. If you get too many stacks on that DJ Juicy, and once Nick Minute hits level 6, it's going to be almost impossible to jump on them. Again, why it's strange the aggression isn't going off in that lane. They scale a little bit better, I feel.
And we've got another DC, unfortunately. But something to note about that bot lane, Theo, like you were saying, it's very interesting that we see Dango Teddies and Wongs are actually wanting to engage in these extended trades, because over time they're not going to be able to win those prolonged fights. You know, the sustain out of Nick Minutes, it's not huge, but with the pots on DJ Juicy, it's enough to actually put it in his favour. So being that he's actually gone for the early Dorans and the Vamp Scepter, so he's actually a little bit stronger than MF is at this point. MF with about 86 AD and almost 100 on Varus. So he's actually hitting a fair bit harder despite that early win there for Dango Teddies.
And if he manages to combo her, it's even more nuts considering the stacks and the explosions. All the explosions.
Absolutely. I mean, at the moment, his Hail of Arrows is dealing about 160 damage, and as well as that, you know, he's getting those Blighted Quiver stacks, which are going to start really making a difference as MF starts getting a little bit higher in levels, especially towards that level 6, level 12.
Now that Jace has gone back, we'll see if he grabs himself an early tier going into boots. Maybe he's looking to get more aggressive instead of tanking up for his team. We do see the spirits. The thing with the spirit and the stuff, the stone of spirits, there we go, spirit stone on Cho'Gath already, so he's not maining out getting hybrid or anything like that early in the game. He is starting to get quite tanky for his team. He hasn't quite gone for too many gank opportunities yet, so his CS is looking just that tiny bit higher than Nasus. Not too much though. I mean, Nasus is a very quick jungler and he hasn't quite locked down on Dragon yet, so they've still got that opportunity available. But up in that top lane, it must be a lot of aggression coming up from Renekton, and I'm interested to see how Mad Max retaliates from that, because he's been poking him out. He's been poking a decent amount, and he's tried to have that mana sustain. He hasn't actually popped out his pops at all, so he's trying to save that and bait out the Nasus play, or even scare it off potentially, because they know he's got so much sustain. He's still got his elixir, so does Renekton. But that's going to be a lot of burst for Renekton now that he's got double Dorans, and we may just be seeing a Brutalizer coming up. If they've still both not bursted out their elixirs of Fortitude, that's going to be a lot of damage coming out from Nasus over Jay. So we'll see if he does tank up a little bit going back. He's had a lot of aggression on him early in the game.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, Renekton at the moment, with that double Doran's pickup, has about 111 attack damage. Now, that combined with his Elixir of Fortitude, if he gets that stun down, what's it called? It's Ruthless Predator. If he gets the Ruthless Predator down, followed by that Colour the Meek, it's really going to be a bad news for Mad Max on that Jace, because he has such little resistance. He's only got 48 armor, and Renekton actually going to be able to shred through that insanely quick.
Oh, the days when we don't have pauses.
Oh yeah.
And even in major tournaments this happens, so I'm cool with it. I'd be raging so hard right now if it wasn't. Nah, I'm kidding. These teams are amazing. Getting into all of the games through my format themselves, it's been really quite easy to set everything up. Really nice. And
Elite's going on to Crumpet in the mid lane. Didn't get the extra a bit of aggression that he needed though, getting him so low. Sorry to interrupt you there, Theo. A really good engage there by Elite. He's had to use his teleport to get back into lane a little bit earlier, but doing such a great job there, poking out Crumpet Yo, and possibly going to force him back and out of lane very soon.
I'm quite surprised he didn't make the flash for that. I think he had his bind up, because it was up last time that I checked, but I'm sure even an auto attack and a Q would have taken down Crumpet. He does have that Tear of the Goddess, and he does have quite a bit of health on him as well, so I'm sure he would have been able to sustain that, but he didn't go for the opportunity. So both teams playing very cautiously in these points rounds.
Absolutely, and something to notice, I would expect very soon to see a little bit more aggression in that bot lane. Across the board, FH is sort of in the lead at the moment. You know, Rise is starting to push ahead of Nidalee 62 to 30. In the top lane, we've got Renekton over Jace at 61 to 48, and in this bot lane, still fairly even with Dango Teddies and DJ Juicy only a couple of CS apart, but I would really expect to see Rise starting to use that sort of early lead to the advantage of FH.
Oh yeah, and picking up a Catalyst now, he's going to look very, very strong. And I think ANS are pretty confident with their bot lane. They've noted that FH are pretty scared of them. They keep backing out, they keep playing very, very safe. And I wouldn't be surprised if Nick Minute hitting level 6 would go straight for the crescendo onto Anawangsa. Let's see if she's going to level just in time. Out goes the ultimate from Dango Teddy, catching DJ Juicy off guard with the knockup from Wongsa, but it wasn't enough to take him down. And Nick Minute actually too far away from getting that ultimate. If he had it right there, they would have gone for that engage. It would have been great.
And we see Elite Member jumping on Ikuga in the middle lane. He's not going to get away. The flash from Nasus, followed by the ultimate, and Elite Member's going to pick up that kill. And that's exactly what they need to do. They need to use this aggression now. Teleport is up for Elite Member. They need to look at forcing Crumpet Yo out of lane. She has, you know, she's a whole lot further behind than most other lanes, and they need to use this to their advantage right now. We just see the BF sword pick up there from MF. That's more like what we would expect to see. But you know, the early Avarice Blade is never a bad pickup if you're able to get it early and pick it up into late game. Ariel going on to Mad Max now under the turret, both igniting. Ariel popping his ulti and just bailing out there.
Yes, and another interesting engage. Of course, we do see the power of Nasus. And that is why he's getting picked up so much more often. I do find him a little bit more useful right now than Jarvan because of his control over Dragon and because of his ability to lock down targets a bit more effectively now. Considering people can jump away from Jarvan straight after, but that slow is devastating from Nasus. Even a flash can be mitigated with his wither.
Absolutely, and the thing for Nasus as well, which we've seen both the junglers pick up actually, the Spirit Stone is actually becoming much more popular for all roles at the moment. We saw in the OGN in Korea just last night, 4 Spirit Stones picked up for one team, just because the translation of damage or sustain through gold is just, it's there with those spirit items. And you know, sort of instead of picking up Woda or something, picking up a Spirit of the Ancient of the Elder Lizard or whatever it is, that actually gives so much better gold value, even though it's sort of designed for junglers. Has been picked up by a lot of teams. So we'll see how this goes. Django Teddy's getting jumped on. The ultimate there is not going to be enough. Crumpet Yo going to come in and get that kill. Unfortunately, only 1 assist each there, but we do see Elite Member. He's coming in as well. He wants this aggression onto Neck Minutes. He will go down, and Elite Member happy to trade that 2 for 1. And you know, at the moment, Crumpet Yo too afraid to go toe to toe, even in a 2v1 situation against that Rise there. He does have the red buff as well, picking that one up.
That's what you get, Dango, for not going straight for that aggression. Wasn't able to poke DJ Juicy and Nick Minutes out of their lane. Nick Minute was still getting very low with the engages from Dango and Wongsa. And if they had that damage output, they may have been able to push her out of lane. But some great responses coming down from Crumpet Yo, getting there with Cat Form, just helping them secure that kill on Wongsa. And then the retaliation from Rise was pretty perfect as well, but wasn't quite timed enough. A little bit of miscommunication there, potentially going down, but just not fast enough for that callback. He did manage to pick up Crumpet, but he definitely missed that double kill with DJ. Here comes in Elite Member though. He's making up for it. Down goes the ult from Dango. And they managed to pick up the kill. A lot of burst damage going out. Some perfect responses from there as well. Oh, that was brilliant. That was really well timed.
And the thing is to note as well for FH here, they are dictating where Cho'Gath goes. He's not able to actually use the fact that Nasus has had to stay mid lane to their advantage because Elite Member has been moving around the map and putting aggression in other areas. Crumpet Yo's going to push this tower down and probably get a little bit of damage on it. Not going to do too much with only a little creep wave, but you know, FH will trade a little bit of damage on that mid turret. You know, only a couple of 100 damage for that dragon any day. Renekton as well, putting a whole lot of aggression, a whole lot of pressure in that top lane as well, and picking himself up a turret in the top lane.
All the pushing going on from every single lane on FH. Again, a couple of problems going on with that bot lane. They weren't able to sustain against NS with the ranged poke that they had available to them. But now they've got Dragon and a turret. Their gold has spiked up to nearly 5k advantage. And they're able to push forward a little bit more readily now that Wongza and Dango are probably able to pick up a couple more items. There's a BF sword as opposed to the minus pick on DJ Juicy. A big difference in damage.
Sorry, I thought Crumpet Yo was going to be in a little bit of trouble there.
We actually do see an engage down the bot lane. Alcaz and Crescendo protecting Wongza. They do manage to pick... Oh no, DJ Juicy not getting off that last kill, and he does manage to get off the ult onto Django, who does manage to pop off her barrier. That last turret hit, oh my god, walking right into the turret for the kill. On Nick Minute, he did not find it. He found death instead. Oh, that was so close there.
And honestly, at the end of the day, such a mistake from Dango, getting that, finally putting himself ahead there with a really great play, baiting out that barrier and getting Neck Minutes so low. All he had to do was wait for the wave to get there and throw a double up, and Neck Minutes would have gone down. And a little bit of probably a decision he wishes he hadn't have made there, Dango Teddies. But really. Basically, the story of this bot lane, every time they get themselves in a position to be ahead, something just sort of doesn't work out for them, and sort of throws the advantage back in the way of DJ Juicy and NS.
There's that Bloodthirster coming out from Misfortune. Either way, she got a free B from it, and she has got 3 kills. We see the gold advantage there just a moment. Sitting 5k to 4.4, so it is 600 over, and she's done well with that. I mean, that Avarice has, of course, done its work for getting her gold early in the game. Still a very strange pickup, but it's done its work. It really has.
But I mean, I think the advantage is actually here in the way of DJ Juicy. I mean, he is 600 gold behind, but that's the first blood and the Avarice blade. That's the only difference that we can see here. And DJ Juicy into that late game is going to scale a whole lot harder with the build that he's starting to pick up. Obviously, looking to go either into that early last Whisper or possibly into that Infinity Edge, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's the last Whisper. I mean, we are seeing already the Aegis of the Legion on Nasus and the Chain Vest going out on Ryze in the mid lane, as we see a little bit of aggression onto that turret, and they're probably looking for a kill. Nasus coming up from behind, throw a Q and a bit of a Spirit Fire and say how's your day, and they will back off. But fair bit of poke going on to this bot lane as well. Dango Teddy is doing well to sustain it out with that Bloodthirster, and able to pretty much sit there and trade all day. Mad Max taking a little bit of harass in that mid lane from Elite Member. He is getting so big right now. Elite Member got himself in the realms of about 77 ability power, but he's got about 2.5k mana almost, so doing so much damage as you know, Ryze scales off that early game mana. So very, very good to see, and stacking up that tier. Got about 540 stacks on it at the moment, so only 16 minutes in, but already almost got that full stack happening.
Just to look a little bit at the potential team fights, I mean, both teams are looking at the exact same kind of thing. They're looking to lock down a bunch of enemy teammates and get off their ADC's burst damage, focusing on their ultimates and on their basics. Just looking, I mean, again, you've got Zyra's ult going into Renekton's column me, but he jumps in with the... Oh, we do actually see an engage down the bottom. Wongza's going to die immediately, but maybe his passive's going to pick up a kill in its minute. No, he didn't manage to be able to put it out on the wrong champion. DJ Juicy going down to a teleport from Elite Member, now responding in kind very quickly, resulting in a 2-for-1 exchange, and he flashes in for the lockdown.
3 for 1, fantastic.
The triple.
And it's going to be this turret as well. Dango Teddies did so well there to, without a flash, without a barrier, sort of hang on and just know that Ryze was coming in behind, and it was all gun BK. But very, very clutch play there from Elite, able to get in there and actually lock out Crumpet Yo and stop him from picking up that kill on his AD carry.
Turret number 2 for FH. They're scaling very well in this game, 6k, and they keep on climbing. Again, now that they've taken down that bot turret, they're starting to ward up a little bit more effectively. They have even more control over that dragon, and I don't think they're going to give it up.
No, well, Nasus, like you know, he is so good at securing objectives. And the thing is, if he doesn't have to pop his ulti and he's able to keep it in sync with Renekton's, it's going to be so much stronger in those team fights because it's, I believe it's in the realms of almost 5%. Sorry, let me have a look. That's 3% there and 70 magic damage. So yeah, it deals 3% from Nasus and 70 per second from Renekton at level 1. And you know, that AoE magic damage is so strong. It works out at full level.
You can see it at work at the top lane. Mad Max will be going down to it and an ignite from Aerial. And there's exactly what you were saying just there. That happened.
Yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous. Sorry, I'm missing out. I was watching in mid lane. IQ getting poked down a little bit there. Wong's are actually doing a fair bit with his plants, and Kali with his 20% base lifesteal through that passive, just able to not be too worried and just sort of last hit things. And with that Q, he's already got that stacked up fairly high. He's got on that Q about almost 200 additional damage just through last hits. So doing really well there, and able to actually lifesteal back so much just through those Qs. Elite Member's going to shove this lane out and most likely look for that. Oh no, sorry, the blue's gone down. Should be back up very soon, but they're looking to Dragon, and hopefully going to get this without an ultimate popped will be the goal. Wongza with Zyra, such a good clearer of objectives as well. They can see on the side of NS here. Oh, they can see on the side of NS there the Dragon, but FH going to pick that one up fairly comfortably and look to pressure this mid lane. It's going to be hard. NS is very much out of position for this 4-man push, and this is going to be a free turret for FH in the mid.
The third free turret, actually, all of the turrets going down. You're getting very close to the enemy team, going for a 5-for-1. And that's a very dead Crumpet. Ilkuga not going to follow in his suit, though. He is very tanky. He's actually focusing on getting out an Aegis, really trying to help out his team, and they are going for that poke combo, so they're looking to mitigate a lot of pokes on themselves, and that's why I'm still having them in the running for this game, because they've got that poke, and they've got a good mix of damage types. They've got 2 AP, 2 AD coming out from that as well. Hopefully that may do just enough for them to keep them in team fights, but it's not just about the initiate with these team fights, it's about following up with them. The initiate coming out, of course, from Aerial on FH and Ilkuga on NS. They both go in there and try to gain attention a lot of the time, and then you want to follow up with the damage with the poke coming from NS, and especially with the ultimate coming out from Dango TD for FH. It's about the middle of the team fight and not about those initiates, unless FH get NS caught off in a jungle position in a very tight space where Renekton and Nasus can really put down their ultimates and do some work in team fights.
Yeah, something to note though is as we see a fair bit of aggression, this is going to be one dead Dango Teddies. Wongs are probably going to go down as well. It's going to be a 4v2 in this bot lane. Dango Teddies going for the flash, will get picked up here by the flash for Ikuga. Good work to bait out that flash, and wow, Zyra doing really well there to get away. Flash over the wall, a really good route onto Crumpet Yo, and she's going to get herself out to the mid lane. Needs to keep moving though. She has got the aggression right behind her, and that one of those spears is almost enough to take her out, but actually doing really well in a 4-for-1 trade to only lose that AD carry, who is of course the focus. A really good effort there. They will lose this bot turret for it. But something to note about that previous big team fight that we had in the mid lane, Snowy, is that Renekton and Nasus neither pop their ultimates. As we see Crumpet Yo going to get smacked down here by Elite Member, picking up his dominating, going 6-0-2. He's almost got that Seraph's Embrace, doing a fair bit now. He has got almost the full stack on that Tear of the Goddess, just cresting 700 stacks at the moment. So Rise does stack that very quickly. We'll see him getting that onto that Seraph's in a very short while. A whole lot of pressure coming out from here from FH, and the pickup of the Bloodthirster and the Static Shiv now for Dango Teddies, as well as that pickaxe. Most likely going to be seeing that go in to the Last Whisper as well, with the Aegis of the Legion picked up. She wants to pretty much mitigate that item and deal a little bit extra damage as well. So I wouldn't be surprised if Dango Teddy's picks that up very soon. Is going back again though, coming out of the base just to get those Zerka Greaves. Even with that strut, she does need that little bit of extra move speed, being that Jace and Nidalee are such good chasers. Jace obviously with that acceleration gate, and Nidalee with that prowl. Every time she moves through that bush, she does get a little bit faster. So it's really good work here from Dango Teddy's to build sort of what needs to be built for these team fights, and he will pick himself up this red buff. And I wouldn't be surprised if, even though Dyrus, as we all know, says Baron before 30 minutes is noob bait, it's looking like FH is going to go for it here and put a little bit of aggression onto this Baron area.
Yeah, it looks like they are actually going to go for the attempt. Let's see. No, Quill hasn't popped out his ultimate. That's a surefire sign that they're not actually committing to the Baron just yet. They are sort of semi-baiting it out with a semi-attempt. It's very confusing. Very confusing to know if they're actually going in. But there's so much sight for them already in NS's jungle. They can sort of do what they want and respond to anything that NS do. But they are going to back out. They know that NS, they're not going to take that bait. They're a bit too smart for that.
Yeah, and a pretty big risk there for FH if they were to go for that Baron, because NS is relying on that poke, and being that Baron Pit is such a small area, they're going to be able to get so much damage down. And wow, Nidalee doing a huge amount of damage there to the Nasus, even though he's already got himself that Runic Bulwark and that Kindle Gem and all that sort of thing. Great Zyra ultimate there into the bullet time, shredding the enemy team. Elite member going to flash in there, get himself godlike, and great Varus ulti there, actually stopping the entire enemy team along with that crescendo. Doing really well though, have lost their poke somewhat through that Jace death, but a really good effort there from the team. Wongs are getting super low, but they will most likely pick up this turret, and I wouldn't be surprised to see the inhibitor go down either. I would expect after this sort of push, we will see a Baron fairly soon. Cully getting really low there. Sorry, Cool, Nasus, whoever,
yeah.
Nasus, and they are going to get that inhibitor and back out. There's a fair bit of wave clear on the side of NS, but probably not enough if FH wants to sit in the Baron Pit and bait that one out and say, you come to us. We've seen that happen twice in the last LCS week for NA. Two pro teams actually going down, doing the Baron dance with inhibitors down and minions pushing in, actually losing their base and losing the game to minions. So a strategy that is going to get picked up a fair bit more in sort of the pro-am scene, I would imagine, because it is such a strong, such a dominant strategy that is so easy to execute and so successful.
Most definitely. That was just an amazing disengage from NS for that team fight. You can see the power that they're really getting, and they're able to disengage from those team fights if they know that they're not going to be able to continue. And they actually had the perfect positioning there. They were going for that one-on-one sort of turret back and forth, and of course they've got the poke advantage there. But yeah, it's just surprising they didn't manage to get that initial kill on Zyra. You did say that Crumpet Yo was getting quite a lot of damage off on, I believe it was Dango before. And it's just going to be another Baron, another scaling map objective coming down for FH. And they're using this a lot to tank up. They're not going straight for those pure damage items. Of course, you're still seeing that Locket of the Iron Solari. There's some, Rice, he always scales with that durability as well as that damage. Oh, there's a little bit of that coming out from Crumpet Yo. I am surprised that the jungle isn't as protected as they could be doing. I mean, all of those bushwhacks coming out from NS could really make the difference on Nidalee. And again, if they've got sight in their jungle, they can easily poke out FH if they're trying to steal anything and go in for the kill.
Yeah, and I just want to look at the items here. Nasus actually picking up already the Bulwark into the Locket of the Iron Solari. So huge really concentrating on those team fights. That's what they're all about. Renekton is level 16 already. He's the highest level in the game. His ultimate doing 100 damage per second. And that combined with Nasus, who's doing 4% of max health each second, it's really going to devastate in these team fights, especially with that mitigation coming out from the Bulwark and the Locket of the Iron Solari, which is going to give them that little bit of extra absorb. The shield at the moment looks like about 170 extra damage negate there, so that's absolutely huge. As we see a little bit of poke going on to neck minutes, actually losing out that poke war to the plants coming in from Wongza.
That don't quite have all of their poke available to them right now, but they are coming into it. Surprisingly, Sorelli popped out by minute. Wanted to go for that initiate on Renekton because he was isolated, but they just couldn't get there in time. It's interesting. I stand corrected on the JC's actually gone directly for damage output. They're really relying on Ilkuga to take a lot of that damage and just not take any for the rest of the team. It's weird. They're relying so heavily on this poke that it's sort of working against them now that they know how to get those initiates.
Elite member jumping on.
So close on that.
Is so close, and he had to pop cleanse instantly as well. So not only is Elite member able to just continue split pushing this lane, he got a turret and also got a cleanse out of DJ Juicy, but he has his teleport up so he can join the fight as soon as he wants to, and it's looking like they're going to go Baron right now, and they haven't popped any of their ultimates. There's no pressure on them at this stage, but I would think with Elite member coming up there and actually coming through lane, they do know what's up for the side of NS, but not a whole lot they can do about it now with a whole lot of pressure on those lanes. And Elite member going to pick up that Baron, standing on the trap real sneaky, just to let the other team know that he's done it.
He was just like, look what we have.
And not a whole lot that NS can do about it. They're going to go back a fair bit to spend here. 1,500 on the side of Zyra, 1,700 in the kitty for Ryze, and probably looking at probably going straight into that sort of that Frozen Heart for Ryze. No, I stand corrected. Muramana coming out for Ryze in going for that auto attack Ryze build, which we have seen quite successful. None other than. And at the moment, the farm so much in the advantage of FH, really doing a great job. And getting a little bit tankier there, Nasus, he's giving me a hard time with that name. Nasus picking up the Giant's belt there for himself, just to make himself that little bit more of a pain in those team fights. Already going to have so much extra health out from his ultimate, giving him 450 extra health. He's now got that a little bit extra, 100 extra health. 380 extra health on that Giant's belt there.
And just looking again at Nasus and Renekton, they're the initiate for the team. They've got a little bit more consistent initiates onto NS, and NS, a lot of their poke is reliant on getting the perfect sight on enemies. I mean, you've got the Nidalee Spear, you've got Jace getting his overdrive off. I believe it is it overdrive or overcharge? I am just a very silly person. Hypercharge. It's something with charge in it. Hypercharge. Getting off. I mean, they do hit champions. They're mitigated by champions alone, and that's Renekton and Nasus getting in the middle of there, and they don't take any damage whatsoever, especially with all of the gold that they've collected early into the game. And Renekton, he's actually grabbed a Sunfire into a Warmogs, and that's just giving them so much power. There's the slice and dice into Colomik. He didn't manage to get the stun off, but he is focusing on pushing everyone out. And Ilkuga may just be the first to go down. No, he does manage to flash out of there in time. He was nearly the first to go down, and then that's everything. All the tankiness from NS gone, and all FH have to do is catch one of them off guard, and they can move in on this. They've still managed to grab themselves an inhibitor, so it is kind of worth it, and they're going in to clear out those jungle minions. So there's going to be nothing for NS to farm off of at all. It's all control going to FH. All their base are belong to them.
And Ariel doing a great job while the whole team was in mid lane, basically getting between the inner turret and that inhibitor turret there and just saying, no, that turret's mine. And Mad Max having to sit there and watch his minions crunch it down. Elite member just absolutely destroying Crumpet. Wow. Doing a really great job there, and that turret's going to go down. Ikuga sitting in the bullet time and the knockup. Wongs are getting insanely low. We'll get Nom Nom there, and Mad Max going to go onto Elite member, not going to pick it up, and Ariel just sitting under the turret saying, what's up? DJ Juicy getting a whole lot of aggression onto him. The flash from Jago Teddy's will pick that one up. That's going to be 2 inhibitors on the side of FH, and if they're wanting to, they're going to be able to push this bottom lane in as well. Ariel not in a position to tank it as yet, but they do have minions coming in, so they're going to pick up this inhibitor turret, and it's going to be GG from NS.
GG coming out. Very good takeaway for the win on FH. It was actually a decent team fight for NS at the very end, but it was just that gold advantage that FH had gathered throughout the entire game that really gave it to them. They focused a lot on Ilkuga, and they got him down. As soon as that had happened, all of their AoE had already got enough of NS. All the letters in the alphabet. Already had taken NS down enough to follow up on that combo and give them an ace. So yeah, it was all up to the farming coming out of the game, because both of those team fights were very, very similar. And it ended up that the poke was mitigated so much by Quill and by Ariel. I'm still going for Quill. I'm sure it's Quill. I know it. But Nasus and Renekton really taking so many hits for the team and giving that win to them. We are going to move on next to Team FH versus Zero. Elo coming in. A little bit of this AO6, so we're going to get that away immediately. Just a tiny little break. And thank you for coming along, Rockmar. You staying for the rest of the night? Rockmar!
Yes, sorry. No, unfortunately, no. I will be back next week, though. Thanks very much for having me, and look forward to being back. And next week, grinders, I believe.
Yeah, next week we will be moving back to the grinders, so check out for that. We do have so many teams in the grinders. A lot of teams are afraid of the Masters division. It's quite sad, to be honest. I want everyone to go full grinders. Sorry, to go full Masters, but they're all quaking in their boots. I'm sure we're going to see a bunch of them get in there. UT really want to get in there. I think Paul Bryan are getting quite confident with their position, so we're just going to change the stream name. Thanks again so much for joining me, Rockmar. Big shout out to him. Everyone go follow him on Twitter at Shouting Rock, I believe. I keep getting that right, thank God.
Correct.
And it is the 8 p.m. game. So see you, Rockmar. Thanks for joining in. He's got to go to do real life things like training in the mud and the dirt and nature and the outside. It's going to be FH versus Zero Elo coming out. It is actually game number 2, not game number 1. Silly UI. What are you doing? There it is. Thanks for joining in. I'm Snowy Padre. We're going to get that second game underway in just a moment. Don't go away.